I got 9:12, but I'll be ready. It's your time, my time, more time we have together, right? My name's Ed Daniels. My wife's there in the back. Her name's Carol. We started a program several years ago, going into schools and working with kids, teaching them how to grow ginseng. And the state didn't like that. We got warned that we was breaking the law. We wasn't letting them know where this ginseng was being planted. And I was like, man, you know, you pick at me for anything and everything. And I'm trying to put back, give these kids the opportunity to grow money. So we moved on into vegetables, and it's grown from there. We started a nonprofit plant seed. We've got several high tunnels going on at schools, teaching kids how to grow their own food that goes on to their salad bar at school. So a lot of things going on in our life, and then we have this. It's Shady Botanicals. We are forest farmers. We make a small living at farming medicinal plants. Believe it or not, there's becoming a big need. Whenever you've got colleges up and down the East Coast, well-known colleges, wanting to buy rootstock from you so they can plant and do studies, there's something coming. You listen, all right? I work for Yale. They sought me and my wife out. They came to our farm unannounced. They tried our product. So it sort of grows quick if you get known. I told someone earlier, I said, you know, you can do whatever you want in life, but be the best at what you're doing. You know, and that's how you sell yourself. And what we do is we farm these at-risk medicinal plants. This is goldenseal. There's bloodroot, crane's bill. We do a lot of ginseng, and we want to help people realize that you can take care of yourself, boost your immune system. You know, all this stuff that's going around, COVID, I ain't saying we was able to cure it, but we was able to get people through it. You know, I don't know that you can say it's ever a cure, because a lot of people say they're having heart conditions after it, they're having brain fog after it. And those effects wasn't there before. You know, what's going on?
I have long COVID.
Yeah, and you know, so we started looking into it and researching, and we found lion's mane as a big thing for the brain fog. So we reached out and we started making product. But the first thing I did was go into the woods and harvest it. I don't raise my mushrooms in a bag, nothing wrong with it, I don't guess, but we like to harvest ours and sort of see how much product we can make off a small harvest. That's being sustainable. When I say that, we make a lot of different things from these plants. Take this plant here as a goldenseal. This is dried goldenseal root. There's probably less than a pound in here. A pound of that dry goes for 45, 50 bucks. I take that and we grind it. See how it turns that golden color? Doesn't look like that in here. It's like brown, almost looks dirty. You know, the first time you look at it, you're like, man, that's not the same stuff. But it is. Berberine. Berberine's a big thing right now if you're into weight loss. And there's a lot of people misuse it. So you got to be careful with berberine. But it does come from goldenseal. It's one of the plants that it can be derived from. So to take this class into more perspective as making end products. This is a grinder you can get off of Google for under 300 bucks. And this one's brand new. And it's a very good brand of a grinder. You're able to do most roots and most leaf. And with this, we take our dried product, grind it, it turns into the powder. The powder can be done a couple different ways. You can encapsulate it, and it's here. But the encapsulating of this puts new rules, or a whole nother set of rules and regulations into effect. In other words, I can sell you the ground ginseng or goldenseal powder by the ounce, by the pound, whatever you want, no problem. But if I help you make a capsule and market it this way, you're opening up a whole nother batch of worms. That product has to be sent off. So you got 10 pounds of this powder. You got to take a sample. Probably about 10 pounds, you'd probably want 6 ounces. And that would be a quality sample sent off for a COA, Certificate of Analysis. And what that says, it gives you all the breakdowns of what, if anything, is in this root or this powder. So now you have a certificate of analysis of what's in it. You keep that with this product. This product needs to be dated. Okay, it's the date that you sent it off, it was harvested, to the day you encapsulate it. And when you encapsulate it, I use vegan caps. And I found that if you buy the ones that separated, they're quicker, but you also find that being separated when they're in shipping and stored, the ends become crimped, and it doesn't want to work as well in the pill factory, as I call it. Fill this up with the gel caps. You got a top and a bottom. You put the powder in that, you rake it across, and you'll come up with a formula for your own products of how much powder, say in pounds or ounces or grams, that you want to use for your outcome of your medicine. The capsules into the bottle, the time, I'd say 10-12 minutes per jar if you was doing it on a production level, hands-on. But it's not always a perfect world, and you fight it sometimes. It doesn't go together the way it's supposed to, but the end product is pure. It's not a blend. Now if you buy goldenseal at GNC somewhere else, I'm sure it's a blended product. A lot of your healthy vitamins it sells, their percentage, probably less than 10%. This is 100% what it says right there. The government don't like that. I'm not even supposed to write goldenseal in there. It's supposed to be called something else. You know, that's the problem. And we have a farm growing this stuff. So we have a sort of a cycle where we raise seed. We choose usually not to sell much seed. We plant it because, again, going back to like the ginseng, you got a berry pod that could produce 30-35 seed. I look at each one of them seeds, the possibility of $12 in 4 or 5 years, maybe more. So if you look at what you can make off of this, you're better off to keep a lot of times the root in the ground. Be more sustainable. Goldenseal, the tops on goldenseal selling now. I think I'm up $14 a pound on that. But again, that top I can harvest at this time of the year. I can go back and probably get a second harvest of the top off the same root this year. Now there's a lot of people in medicine that claims that it's not as strong, that the second harvest of your top will be a little bit weaker. I think it's just the fact that they're not wanting to do that. They think that the first harvest and the only harvest is the best harvest. If you're farming it, you want to get your bang for your buck, you know. And so far, I've done it, and we sell it, and I haven't had any complaints, but I don't really advertise to them that that's what I've done. And they seem to be happy with the product. So I don't think I'm cheating them. It's trying to get more out of my buck. And there's tricks to do that with ginseng. Again, we're talking about the top of a plant. Say ginseng has one top. We're working on ways to make that ginseng root produce at least 2 tops each year, so you can double your money on your tops. So, you know, there's little things like that that's never really been wrote. People have studied on how to transplant, how to sow, how to build raised beds for ginseng, but how to make it more productive for what we want. It hasn't been a lot of people messed with it. And so we go that route a little bit. It's sort of like trial and error, pressing the envelope maybe. Not all roots like it. Some of them may perish in that experiment. But what we found, we have produced a lot of tops, or a lot of roots that's producing 2 tops now. So on our end, that's also more berries. So if I've got a top and a top off of one root, I'm doubling my production in the same area. And I didn't do anything. I would have worked that scar to be more beneficial for me. And that's a trick that I won't share yet. Do you have a question, sir?
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Well, I was going to ask about the goldenseal leaf on top.
Uh-huh.
How do you process it? I mean,
Dry it.
Just dry it out and grind it too?
Yeah. There's no real presentation on it yet. I think we talked about the presentation on the ginseng tops. And again, when you do something, it represents you, okay? However you approach life, your product is a piece of you. And I was telling someone earlier, yeah, ginseng leaf presented to me like this is worth about $50 a pound. But if they'd taken the time to cut each leaflet off and press it and put it in a little tin, it sells for $80. And we're talking like 18 leaves. So it's, you know, it takes more of your time, but there's ways to be the best at what you're attempting to do. I like to teach a lot about taking a seed, rearing a plant. You got more seed, you can use the top, leave that root in the ground. Okay? Over harvesting of any root for medicine purposes is going to increase in the next few years because I guess the United States has really cut off exporting a lot of this to China and other countries, Europe as well. So that's one reason I see the big push for the universities wanting to grow this stuff and they want to learn about it. One of the guys that worked with me years ago and taught me was Bob Bifus. He was at Cornell, I think, for 19 years. And he was known as the guru of ginseng. And but it was about, you know, make it more sustainable, keep it going. Don't always harvest the root. And I listened. And you know, if you listen today and you go home and practice the same thing, we got more people doing that. And then you're going to teach your grandkids or your kids that. That's the way it should be. I was never taught. I went into areas, I was digging stuff, and I was thinking, wow, I got a VW Bug I want to buy for $500. I need that much money, I'm going to get it, you know. Heck yeah, I got it. Bought some new clothes, started school that year. I moved away and come back. I went to them same areas, there was nothing there. I did that. I had a part of it. So you got to put back. And that's why I want to teach people, we got to be more educated because it's not taught in schools. There's rules and regs in a book that once you become old enough, it can affect you. But young kids need to be taught, you know, that's who's going out a lot of times looking for this stuff. So we try to get them involved at schools. And ginseng, back to it real quick. The purpose of the tops, a lot of times, is teas. Big farms, I've got some friends in the Midwest that farm ginseng. They've got acres and acres, probably thousands of acres. The largest exporters of ginseng in the United States. Paul Sue and Dr. Mang, good guys. But they can't sell their tops because they spray. So, you know, that's a good point to magnify if you're going into this as being organic. Be the best that you can be. Don't spray something and say, oh, look at these beautiful plants, I sprayed it with this, this, and this. If you're spraying it, you're killing it. You know, and you're killing maybe somebody else because of the chemicals that's being used. You want to pass on the purest stuff, and that's one reason Yale came looking for my wife and I. That's what we pass on, is the purest product that we can make. You know, and if we're going to tincture form, which This is just a long setting tincture. I think this one's been going for about 5 years. We use organic vodka. It costs more. But again, you don't want to put your product in something that's been run through a shoddy process that's going to hinder the quality of your product. You pay more, you get better, and you sell better. So, of course, I'd rather have the local moonshine, but you know, it's hard to go back onto that whenever someone says, "Oh, I don't think that was vodka." So yeah, we do use the best that we can get for our products. Dual extraction. Didn't bring my succulent, but I'll tell you about it. Dual extraction is to put this ground powder into a small sock, as I call it. It's a nylon tea bag. And that's what you weigh out your product as a powder, or you can use the leaf to fill this up. Use this digital scale to get the best weight. That way you know where your taste is, what percentage of it is solid material, and you put it into that succulent and you'll extract it. I usually use the tincture alcohol that I've had soaking is what I'll run through for my ginseng. It gives it a much richer, stronger flavor. A lot of people like the way I do it. But again, you'll put this in an extractor, it's just like a small moonshine still. You're heating the alcohol, creating a vapor. There is a glass worm that comes down, condensates, drips onto this, and that's your product. So you'll run it through twice, well, several times, but for so many hours on each one. But first with alcohol and then with water is what it's getting at. So it's a dual extraction. It's a little slower process, but you extract all the constituents that that plant has to offer for the better health of you and whoever's using it. Any questions so far? We all sleep or what?
Shine, little.
Well, actually, you know, there will be a session after the first class. But now we like coming here. This is a great place. We always meet good people, and I've got a little bit of investment into the mountainside. We put some roots we brought from our farm up here, some goldenseal, some bloodroot out front. I don't know if we we put some elderberries over here. I don't remember if those were ours or not. I helped plant them. It's great to see other people that's into this stuff. It's crazy that I'm up here trying to tell you about it and no one has questions. I try to work off questions because that tells me you're wanting to learn, and this is what I want to know about your program specifically. And that's one reason I ask about it. Go ahead.
On the bloodroot.
Yeah.
What purpose?
Bloodroot.
I know it's good for a dye, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't touch it. The sap out of the bloodroot has been used to fight skin cancer. And I've seen folks that had the dark spots on their arms, and they would take something similar to a small model paintbrush and dab that sap off that and just go over the dark areas, and within a matter of days it looked like you dropped battery acid on it. It was actually eating that dead skin or the cancerous skin. Now it's ugly, but I know people that's treated their skin cancers for. And you know, it's about the same. I've got scars on me where they've taken the scalpel and cut it off. And it's just a different way. You know, it's a slower process. It may not be pretty, but it works. So bloodroot, I've heard it's been in toothpaste, believe it or not. A lot of different uses, and it spikes. The whole root industry has its years, and I don't know if they deplete their inventory that they bought up making their products, and it's lasted for 2 to 3 years. I don't know. Anybody that's seen this market would probably say it is the hillbilly stock market, and that's how I really classify it, because I can buy roots today and plant them, and in 2 weeks they could be worth a lot less. But to me, I still have them in the ground, so I can wait till they come back up. I don't have to itself. So there's ways to play that market. Don't go in it hungry expecting to make your money quick. I mean, it's a slow return. Ginseng is one of the slowest things. I tell everybody, it's teaching you patience. Yeah, you want to see patience, and you grow ginseng, you'll see, because you can plant some seed, and it may not come up for 2 years, and you're thinking, these guys sold me some bum seeds. I get the calls all the time, and then I get that call, man, I'm sorry. Those seeds came up this year, you know, and it's true. Even if you stratify it, and that's the process, it's not always 100% sure that that seed's going to pop that following spring. Bob had told me there was a certain amount of frost, freeze, chills that the root, the root would go through, would also predict how that seed would germinate. And I never wrote all that down. I remember it was 24 to 28 freezes that the ginseng seed itself, once it's on the ground in the woods, has to go through to get a real good germination. So there's more studies to be done, more literature to be documented. And it's amazing that we're so far behind on this. China has been using it for over 5,000 years. We dig the best of the best roots on the East Coast in the Appalachian Mountains and sell it overseas for pennies on the dollar. So I like to get people to grow. I mean, follow your local state rules on it. I started our farm and realized I'd done something wrong. I didn't let the state and the federal government know what I was doing. And I didn't know how bad that could be until a buddy of mine said he had got robbed. And he went to the local authorities. They said, go to the DNR. The DNR says, what ginseng? You never reported it to us. You didn't have any ginseng in our house. He didn't get no help. So I got worried. So I notified him. And the state lady says, Ed, you can't grow ginseng without telling us. Before you start, we got to come and do a determination. I was like, Rob, where's that road? That's not my rule book. I got to look for this? You need to be able to educate me before. I said, my situation is I've got a whole hillside planted ginseng, and I want to be known as a ginseng farm now. She goes, Ed, you can't do that. I said, well, what do I need to do? She goes, well, you need to have a determination done. And that's where a forester comes out with a GPS, and he marks so many different places around your patch, the outside perimeter. And he's got to be able to be seen by 5 satellites with that GPS where that ginseng's being planted. 5 satellites watching my farm. And I asked him, I said, how many do I have? He said, you have 9. So I was on top of a mountain. Why they gotta know so much about my ginseng?
They come
They're
get
gonna
it.
come take it.
They come take it.
And on top of that, there's more to ginseng than we know. Why is the Chinese so desperate for it? Not knocking them. I think they're smarter than us. They know the health benefits of it. Ginseng will not work for you if you're just taking it because today I feel bad. If you get on a regimen where you're preventive maintenance on your body, you'll notice it. You're more alert, you're more active, less fatigue, you're spot on a lot of things, and you're focused. And that goes a long ways with a lot of things. The lion's mane, very simple. Cordyceps. Anybody know what a cordyceps mushroom is?
I've heard of it.
Cordyceps is a little orangish yellow mushroom about that tall that grows off of a dead bug. An ant. It's like a mummified ant, and then this will sprout up. They sell for upwards of $18,000 for a pound. If it was harvested in high elevations in Nepal. Now, why is it so valuable? It increases the oxygen in your blood. It'll give you energy like your Superman. The climbers will use that to give more endurance if they're climbing sheer faces and they're hanging for long periods of time because they need extra energy. And that's what they use. And it'll also put more oxygen in your blood, which does what? That
Ginseng does too, don't it?
Yeah. So, you know, you learn more about your plants, what they can do for you. You focus on that. And then you say, how much of this do I want to mess with? On my farm, I've got several of these mushrooms growing, and the higher elevations in my near area, I can get the cordyceps. And I'm very fortunate. And that's one reason Yale came looking. Because they was at Canaan Valley skiing. And they saw our product on the shelf. And one guy over medicine, he said, I bet this is thrown out of bag. He said, it probably don't even work. And he told me what he said. And his buddy stood there and laughed. Yeah, that's what he said. They come looking for us. There's a difference. The stuff that you buy at GNC has probably got 10% in it. Whenever you're using total raw product, it's real. So I encourage you to get into growing what it is, using what it is, whether it's a salve, a tincture, but you'll see. I mean, it changes your life. And you're really happy to be involved with it. And I like to tell people about it because I'm not the only one. The problem with the roots and herbs, if all of a sudden we're harvesting all of that from our wild forest in here on Appalachia, we're going to deplete it. Okay? We need more people growing. That's who's here. You all need to get involved. We've got grower kits, other people's got grower kits. But get involved. Grow something. You got a little shaded patch of land, put something in it. It may not benefit you directly, but if you've got kids, grandkids, or maybe even just growing something like a goldenseal plant and using it during the winter whenever you're having a sore throat. One of the best things for sore throat. Just the root made into a tea. It's good to fight infection and bacteria too. A lot of people deal with head and chest this time of year, pollen, stuff coming off the trees. Chog is good for your immune boost, reishi, and I would also go back to hitting some goldenseal because it'll dry it up. You know, I've had people come to us, and Carol, my wife, can back me on this, that had taken like 3 regimens of the Z-Pack to get the head and chest cleared up from the local doctor, and came to us and had it cleared up in 3 days. So these products do work, you know, and it's the more you use it, the more you believe. Any questions yet? All right.
Yeah, I've zero experience growing goldenseal.
It's really
I would
resilient.
love to pick your brain a little bit about where to plant it, how to harvest it, what kind of this and that. What do you know?
The best thing with goldenseal is to move it frequently, every year. After you transplant it, your first year, I would pull, like if you had a small patch, I would pull a percentage out, snap the roots, let them scab over, and then replant them. You've done a root division then.
Okay.
Because I've got buddies now in politics. I want a ginseng license. You got a trout license, you got a hunting license. I'm out hunting money when I'm hunting ginseng. I'm making money. So why not have a license for 20 bucks? You have to have written permission to be on anybody else's property that's not yours. If you don't own it and I'm on your property, I have to have written permission with me stating she knows I'm there for what. Okay? So with that $20, you get a license that you can carry with you, just like a driver's license or whatever, but you also get a packet of seeds to take back into your areas to put out to keep it going.
That'd be great.
And that is a program that this state needs to adopt, and I'm pushing for that here in the next couple of years. It'll be a seed bank. You know, so someone that's looking to get into growing these at-risk medicinals, guys, I'm hitting your bells, listen to me. I'm trying to create ways for you to sell your seed. Not one person's going to sell all the seed that would be given out to those who would buy a ginseng permit. I need to buy some seed from you this year, sir. Ma'am, I need some from you. Not all of the ginseng. They're harvesting everything. There is a list of medicinal roots out there that would astonish you in what they're getting for and it's being taken from the national forest. So if we're going to do that, we need to get some money to put it back, and that's what I'm trying to say.
A national forest license, you're allowed to.
You can harvest
dig
for
up to 5
personal.
pounds.
Personal, and that the poundage is yet to be determined because it says 1 bag.
Oh dear.
Grocery bag.
What could possibly
No,
go
no, no,
wrong?
no. We're talking burlap sack now.
I think
That is a bag. Burlap is a bag. So I guess what I'm saying is we need rules, regulations. We need a way to bring that money back in, and let's put seed back out. If they're going to take it from the national forest, which is their right by law, they can do that. But let's put something back. So we got to get the seed program to where, and I'm going to have some help, and that's these people that's here today.
And education on sustainable harvesting.
And it goes back to what I'm telling you about being sustainable. I mean, you can take a small amount of root. This jar of root would probably make me 200, 250 bottles of tincture. So again, this here was $45, $50 maybe for this. Do the math, I get $15 a piece out of these.
How much was the liquor going in?
that's $37.50 plus tax.
So, you know, it's sustainable, but it's you putting your best product out to the market to get the best price. And you can take this whole forest farming as a grain of salt, or you can take it serious and say, yes, this is what I want to do, and get focused. You don't have to take on mushrooms and this and this and this. Start with what you want to work with first. Don't overload your palate. You know, you want to be able to manage, because when it comes into time to go cutting all them tops down, you're going to wish you had about 400 grandkids. Because that bending over, it'll wear your ass out. And it's just with a pair of scissors, but oh my back. You know, it happens. It's a lot of work, but you can make money from it. So, any other questions?
Are they mapping out anything else other than ginseng or?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Now, I'll take that back. I grew hemp.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I had some pretty good stories over that. I told you I owned a mountaintop, right?
Yeah.
Well, on our mountaintop, there is a big pine patch. The guy that had the property that sold it to us was starting a Christmas tree farm that got out of control and he never did harvest them, so they're 30 feet high and 12 acres of pines. The far ridge is a gob pile where they take the cold gob and haul it up and put it back to where they strip mine. A buddy of mine was up there working at that gob pile and he called me. I hadn't talked to him for 10 years. And I said, hey, what's going on? He said, you still have that place over there on Hicks Ridge, got the pine patch? I said, yeah. He said, I don't know what's going on. He said, that helicopter's been over there for the last 10 minutes. And I'm like, really? I have my hemp out. I have a license. We have it legal. Everything's legal. But this one hand not talking to the other. It's registered. We have to let the state police know. We had to let the county sheriff know. GPS coordinates. So I'm laughing. I said, oh, they're spending their money over there looking at my hemp. I looked out the window. 6 state troopers go by the house, flying, blue lights on, just roaring. I was like, I wonder if that's what they're doing. So, I never heard nothing. And I stopped down the local town there, and the boy said, yeah, he said, that helicopter come down here, and he said, and there was one state trooper that come down, and they was on their phones, and he said, well, he had a big enough field where they could land a helicopter, and he said, yeah, they went up there and checked my sister's greenhouse. She had tomato plants in it. So I knew what it was all about. They was looking for marijuana growing. And I had this big patch, 1,800 plants on top of the hill. Well, once you get to the top of the hill, there's this back road that goes into our farm that everybody with a side-by-side or a big jacked-up truck hits because there's 13 swamps on it. They put 4 state trooper cars in that first swamp before they realized they couldn't get through it. That was the closest route on their GPS to get to my farm. It's only 1.5 miles through there. If you go around by the hardtop and around, it's 15 more minutes and like another 12 miles. So they hit that shortest route. Well, the 5th guy, I guess he saw the 4 cars, they radiated to one another that was stuck. He took a right and went down the other road and got down out of cell service. He's a state trooper, not from there. He got lost. Because his GPS and none of that shit would work down there. That was 5 of the 6. The 6th one made it down to Helvetia, and that's where the helicopter landed and went in after the tomato plants. How much money did they spend there that day because they didn't communicate? And they couldn't do nothing to me. I was legal. I mean, we was growing hemp. It looked like good stuff. But it was hemp, and we made product from it. But the money they put out there to fight things is just unreal. And it goes back to the ginseng. Why do they have to have so much information on my ginseng patch? You'll find out if you try to grow ginseng. It's a pain in the ass. There's more paperwork to the ginseng than there was the marijuana, the hemp. So, any other questions?
On the goldenseal there,
Yeah.
if I dig down on the root and leave the plant and just snap a piece of the root off,
Now, whenever you snap a root, it's moist.
right,
Do not put that right back into the ground at that point. Well, what I do is let it air dry. I call it scab over. You don't want that moist end buried because it'll cause it to root or rot. So if you air dry it for 2 to 3 hours after you snap it, you can tell, you can touch it, and it's called scabbing over. It's good to plant, and it'll grow. Both sections will grow.
okay, but you gotta dig the whole thing up to snap it.
Well, yeah, you could probably just snap it in the ground if you wanted, but I'd be afraid it would rot.
Leave that one section of root air dry for a day before you put dirt back on it?
You could, yep, that would work. You're all too easy.
Now top, so you're talking about just how much of the plant do you mean on the top?
Stem up,
Okay. Also the whole thing.
stem up.
Okay.
And then do you separate the leaves
From the stem?
stems?
Yep.
How much mullein ratio to put in your mullein tincture?
It's trade secret. To be honest with you, you can do a lot of different things with mullein. Probably 4 ounces of leaf to a gallon jar. You want to see color. You want to see a dark color. And then, I extract both ways, so, I get good color out of the water as well as the alcohol. So I go off my color to really know where I'm at. And the taste. You can taste if it gets weak. Mullein almost has a spicy taste to it if it's getting to the right level. And if you, as soon as you take it, if you're not coughing, expelling something within less than 5 minutes, you probably didn't make it strong enough. And that's just through trial.
So that's extracted, what you have.
Yes, everything we do is through extraction if it's in tincture form. Yes, ma'am.
You definitely extract all of it?
Yes, yes. Actually, the new process was sort of where we take and soak the root for 4 to 5 years, then take the alcohol out of that to run through our extraction process just to get a more edge on the market.
Elaborate.
Huh?
Elaborate what you mean.
Well, in the succulent extraction, in the beaker, you've got to put so much alcohol. That's what you're heating up. And that's what condensates and comes down through the worm and then drips back onto your product. Instead of just putting straight vodka, I'll use ginseng vodka to start with. So I've already got a lot of health in there. I'm just going to add a little bit more. Again, I want to make the best. Yeah.
I've got a question for you. As a business owner, looking at the business side of this, how do you manage supply and demand? Is there a prediction for you now doing this as long as you have that you
I
kind of
thought
know
I
your
had
market?
that down. I thought I was just going to buy this, this, and this, and I was going to get through it all. Well, this, and this market crashed the last 3 years. So I had to bring on some other product, and that's when the mushrooms came in. You got to follow the industry and what's going on at these places and what's people interested in. Mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms is probably one of the largest and fastest growing things I've been in the last 15 years. And I think it's going to continue. So, if I was going to put a little something into an investment, it'd be my roots, it'd be some seed, and I might be looking at some logs to inoculate and grow some mushrooms or go out and find those in the wild. Become more educated on your mushrooms. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of help there. Anybody else?
I seen your lion's mane. What did you say that was good for?
Rainfall, focus. Believe it or
Wants me
not,
to be able to think.
believe it or not, college students that's cramming for tests are hitting it hard too, because it creates that focus. They're not easily distracted. They're reading. They're absorbing what they're reading. So it's really strong stuff. But anyway, Ed and Carol Daniels with Shady Grove Botanicals. We've got some business cards we'd like to see or hear from each one of you soon. And thanks for your time.